Hi, it's Amy from Prana and Patchouli. Today I'm going to take you through a restorative yoga practice for headaches. So whether it's tension caused by stress and anxiety, or just misalignment in the way that you're sitting, perhaps you're hunched over a desk or a computer or your phone, or maybe it's that time of the month. This practice will just create a sense of ease and relaxation in your entire body so you can release some of that tension. And just one thing, these poses aren't suitable for migraines. So if you just have a regular headache, then please feel free to do this practice whenever you need to. So you will need a couple of props. I have a block and a bolster, as well as a blanket, and then of course you'll need your yoga mat. But we're going to start in a restorative child's pose, just because this is a really nice meditative, restorative way to begin the practice, and right away we'll start to ease some of that tension. So for this you can grab your block, just place that at the top of your mat. And then your bolster can just gently rest against the block. Now, if you prefer to do it without the block and just have the bolster flat like that, then that's great too. Just whatever feels right to you here. And then you can grab your blanket. You might want to open it up on your mat so you have more cushioning under the shins and your knees and your ankles. Or you might like to slide it in between your heels and your seat, just to give you some extra height there in your hips, and that will decrease the flexion in your knees. But you want to snuggle yourself right up to the edge of your bolster with your big toes together, your knees open. And then you can just let yourself relax forwards. You can turn your head to one side or the other, or you can make a little pillow with your hands and just relax your forehead down. Just make sure there's still space for you to breathe there. And just let your hips and your heart get nice and heavy as you relax your forehead. And this is nice because it turns your attention away from the outer world where there's lots of noise and movement, and into a stiller, quieter inner space. So as your breath begins to deepen here, just feel those inhales and exhales becoming a little smoother and fuller. You can really relax into the shape. You're always welcome to adjust your props as you need to. Let your whole self soften. With every inhale, you can invite in more softness and space into those areas that you feel tension. And perhaps right now that's in your head, whether it's your forehead or your temples, maybe the base of your skull. And if your head was facing one way on the bolster, you can turn it the opposite way. If your forehead is down, stay exactly where you are. And just take one more inhale here. And exhale completely. And gently begin to roll yourself up slowly. Sitting back on your heels, just taking your time and noticing how you feel. And now you can move your props out of the way. For this next pose, you're just going to need a block. So we're going to come into a supported downward facing dog. So you can draw that block in close towards you on its highest height. And you're going to place your hands down a couple of inches in front of the block. Now we're not going to be here for long, but whenever I have a headache, I always find that this is just a really nice one to do, as it encourages blood flow to the brain. It helps to release any tension from your neck, which can sometimes cause a headache. So really spread through your fingers here. Press down through all 10 fingertips. Curl your toes under. And then gently begin to lift your knees and lift your hips and press them back. Now you can soften your knees as much as you need to here. Relax your shoulders down your back and then allow your forehead to drop so that it rests just on the edge of your block. It should feel really nice and supportive. You might even want to roll your forehead from side to side on the block there. Just keep your hips high as your heart and your head drops. Take a few easy deep breaths, and if this feels like too much, you can always come down into a regular child's pose. We'll all meet there in a moment. I find that this variation of down dog just feels really nourishing. Let's take one more inhale. And as you exhale, lower your knees down, lift your head. Just move your block out of the way, and we'll do a different variation of child's pose here with the knees together, the feet together, and you can just sink your hips back to your heels. Support yourself if you need to with that blanket. And then reach your arms back, palms up, and relax your forehead down. Notice how you feel there. If you want to roll your forehead from side to side, and that might feel nice. And then slowly begin to roll yourself all the way up. Just really taking your time, especially as you move from being close to the earth up to sit. And then we're going to come into a supported bridge or variation of legs up the wall. Now, if you do want to take yourself over to a wall for this pose, then feel free. This is more of an elevated variation. So if you are taking yourself over to a wall, you can either grab a block or a bolster or a rolled up blanket just to elevate the hips and lift the pelvis so that your head can drop down towards the floor. It's very mild, passive, and nourishing inversion. But we're going to do something similar in the middle of the room. So if you're here with me, you can place your blanket at the top of your mat or a pillow or just something to support your head. And then lower yourself all the way down onto your back. Now just rest your head on the blanket. The shoulder blades are underneath the edge of the blanket. Then you're going to grab your block and place the soles of your feet flat on the floor. The block is one option. You can also use your bolster. You're going to press down through the feet, lift your hips just enough to slide the bolster underneath the sacrum, that bony triangle at the bottom, the back of your pelvis, the bottom of the spine. And you can play around with the height of your block. I've got mine on its lowest setting just because I find that that's a little bit more restorative. Now you always have the option to stay here in this supported bridge shape. But if you want to come into that inversion, you can place your hands beside you. Draw your knees in towards your chest. And then gently extend your legs up towards the sky. Just let your inner big toe mounds rest against each other. Soften your knees. You can close your eyes here. So legs up the wall is great for releasing overall body aches, which can help to release headaches as well. You allow the legs to rest. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard. Your brain cools and relaxes. Just really allow the back of your skull to drop heavily towards the floor. Breathing big. Just notice how you feel with a sense of curiosity instead of frustration or judgment. If you are experiencing a headache right now, then just gently breathe into that space where you feel the tension. Just simply observing it without giving it any meaning. And then just let it melt away. If you want to stay here longer, you can. Or if you're ready to come out, slowly bend your knees. Place your feet down on the floor one at a time. If you're at the wall, you can bend your knees, place your feet on the wall and roll over to the side. And then press down through your feet, lift your hips, and slowly lower down your upper back, middle back, and lower back. From here, we're going to come into Savasana. So you can extend your legs out on the mat in front of you. I definitely recommend supporting yourself in your Savasana here. So if you want to grab your bolster, you can place that horizontally across your mat so you can drape your legs over your bolster there. Your blanket or your pillow is already in the perfect place. But just to make this even more comfortable, if you'd like to roll over the edge of your blanket, just to support the natural curve of your neck, then that really helps the back of your skull relax. And that can feel really nice too. And of course, you can cover yourself with another blanket just to make sure that you're warm enough. We'll do this little self-adjustment here in Savasana. So you can interlace your hands behind the base of your skull. And start to slide your hands up towards the top of your head as you let the weight of your head relax back into the hammock of your hands. And as you slide your hands up, at the same time, lower your head down to the earth. So eventually, as you release the hands, the head releases. And you've just created a lot of extra length and traction in your neck, which should feel really good, especially with that blanket roll as well. You can just relax your hands, palms facing up, and allow yourself to surrender here. And this pose is Savasana, of course, but in restorative yoga, it's sometimes called basic relaxation pose. And even this pose alone, you could even take this for 10 minutes if you have a headache. It can be really calming and soothing. So just let your breath go here, so your body is just breathing for you. Allow any tension to melt away. And let those deeper breaths turn on the relaxation response. And sink into stillness here. Now feel free to stay here even longer. Or you can wiggle your fingers and toes. Take a full body stretch, reaching up overhead through your fingertips and through your toes. And then exhale, just let everything drop. Hook your knees in towards your chest. Just roll around for a moment there. And then you can roll over to one side or the other. Just take your time as you make your way back up into your comfortable seat. And you can keep your eyes closed as well here. Maybe even sit on top of that blanket that you have. And just close your eyes. Take 3 full, easy inhales and exhales. Noticing how you feel. On your next exhale, float practice brought you some relief, that your headache feels a little soothed, if it's still there at all. But return to this practice anytime that you need to create a sense of relaxation and release tension when you have a headache. If you like this video, click the like button, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and please leave me a comment. I always love to hear about your experiences on the mat. And if you want to go deeper, I have a free mini yoga retreat waiting for you at the link in the description. So click that. It's really wonderful for de-stressing, releasing tension, and just restoring your mind, body, and soul. But until next time, I can't wait to see you back here on the mat soon. From my heart to yours, namaste.